5.5 years running Digital Voices as an agency, 2 years at YouTube before. We've never had thousands of brand deals, thousands of sponsorships, and we've never had an ASA complaint until you.
Yeah.
Thomas Ridgewell, better known as TomSka, is a British YouTuber who has been active since the 30th of May 2006, making him one of the first YouTubers to start on the platform. At the time of this podcast, he has created 176 videos on his main channel and has a whopping 7.18 million subscribers that have brought in nearly 2 billion views.
When I got into it, there wasn't the expectations of these audiences. When I started making YouTube, the most popular YouTuber in the world was an 80-something-year-old British man. I think the best advice I can give is that you keep it short and snappy, and then also keep it relatable. So something that people can relate to, and it has something to do with their life, because then they'll remember it and it gets stuck in their heads.
We sat down with TomSka to talk about his journey, what struggles he has faced over the years, and some fascinating industry insights that can help any budding creator looking to flourish on the platform.
Hello and welcome back to Creator Behind the Influence Digital Voices podcast. I'm Jennifer Quigley-Jones, the CEO of Digital Voices, and today I am joined with the exceptional TomSka.
Yes.
Thomas Ridgewell.
I was a gifted child, but I've mellowed out now. I'm just fine now.
No.
I'm just a child.
A child with a camera and a writing ability to write comedy.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Mood strokes.
You have over 7 million followers on the TomSka channel.
Yeah.
And you have 1 million on Tom and Friends, Dark Squidge, ex-Dark Squidge.
Yeah.
How's that make you feel?
Normal. That's the thing is, I think it becomes normal. It was a very, my channel never really did that thing that I think a lot of creators do, where they have that sudden, it was just kind of a very steady from 2006 to it took 6 years to go from 0 subscribers to 1 million, and that was quite a straight line, really. It's quite a small curve, and then from 2012 to now is crawled up 1 million every couple of years to 7 million. So it's been quite a gradual climb, but there's never really been a point where it felt like oh god, it's happening.
It's been your whole adult life. You've been kind of.
I've actually been a YouTuber a majority of my living life. I think it was somewhere in May this year that I ticked over the point where I'd been. The amount of time in my life I wasn't a YouTuber was now less than the time I have been. Because I made my channel when I was just about to turn 16, and now I'm 32. So.
Damn.
The whole thing, whole life.
16 years of YouTube.
Yeah.
And the platform has transformed.
It's like, yes, but not as much as I think a lot of people think. I think there's like these weird little changes that happen all the time, but it still feels like the same YouTube to me, just with many coats of paint.
Little algorithm tweaks.
And they don't scrape the old paint off before they apply the new layer. They just stick that on there, and
you're like, oh, the old videos are still doing well.
Yeah. So it's a real cobbled together mess is YouTube. It's like just a card that's had parts added onto it and stuff.
It's like that philosophy question where it's like, if the boat ggets repaired and all the parts get changed, is it still the same boat?
And so in my opinion, it's sure. Functionally speaking, it's the same YouTube. It's just they're always chasing their trends, and it seldom works. Bless them.
That's something that's very interesting about your content, because you've been in some ways quite consistent. Once you find something that works, you innovate, but with relative consistency. So, do you try to follow the trends, or how do you come up?
No, I built myself a little box, and then I think inside that box almost exclusively, because it's a nice box, it's a comfy little box. No, I've never tried to chase trends on a larger scale in terms of like, okay, this is what people want on YouTube now. It's always just been, if I find something that people like from me, then yes, I will do that more. Hence why there are 14 or something Astor movies by now. But and then there are certain formats of sketches that I know people like, so I will often lean into them if I'm feeling unsure or lacking in confidence, then I want to bring my audience back on side. But no, by and large, I've never really tried to chase algorithmic trends beyond occasionally tent polling and doing like, it's Christmas, here's a Christmas video. But no, because when YouTube was like, oh, we want everyone to make 20 minutes of content a week. No. And it was like, oh, we want everyone to make 10-minute plus videos. I'm not going to do that. And now they're like, oh, we want 30 second to a minute videos in vertical format. It's like, oh, that's cool. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to keep doing my little 2.5 to 3 minute videos. And I'll just go down with the ship if that's what I have to. Like, I will be the little orchestra playing as the Titanic sings. Yeah. I just feel very old. Like, I'm not going to change. So
why? Because is it that?
I just don't want to.
I feel like telling you what to do is something that has never worked.
No.
Having worked at YouTube with you, like being like, you know what the algorithm wants? It doesn't
That's
work.
neat.
You're like, yeah.
Love that. No, it's like, I get that. I fully respect that algorithm. Love that for her. I'm not going to do that.
On the brand deal side, it's like, hey Tom, do you want to do something brand appropriate? No.
Oh God, no. That's a whole other beast. What the brand wants is very, very rarely good. What their talking points are always, they will not resonate with an audience. So, but that's a whole other kettle of fish, isn't it?
We'll get into
We'll very much get to that.
So did you, 16 years on the platform, when you were trying to find a format you wanted, what motivated you to start and what motivated you to try and find kind of comedy that you enjoyed working on?
Just desperate need for approval and attention. Yeah, I was, the story basically begins 20 years ago when I, 21 years ago, I guess now, when I was first on the internet and typing in random words because Google wasn't really a thing. So, and I eventually typed in stupid.com, and then I saw these what I would learn to be Flash animations. And I didn't know what I was looking at, but I knew, okay, that's what I want to do for my life now. I don't know what I want to do, I just know that it's this. And what essentially I was looking at was very early content creation and stuff.
You honestly looked at Flash animation and went, yeah, this is it.
Yeah, and it wasn't necessarily just I wanted to do Flash animation, although that is what I thought, until YouTube came along and was like, oh, you can also do live action on the internet now. I just wanted to put stuff on the internet with other amateur peers, I guess, and that was the only metric of success I held on to, and that was the only approval I wanted. For a lot of my life, I was like, I guess I want to make movies and TV shows. But that was, I think, just influenced by the fact that everyone around me was also a media person and they saw YouTube as a stepping stone, whereas I was just like, no, I think I just want to put stuff on the internet. I just don't subscribe to that mindset of growth. It was just like, I just want to be really good at this one thing. And I was, and then I ran out of stuff to do. So...
But it's funny, a lot of people saw it as a stepping stone because I think they are excited by the idea of like the validation of traditional media.
Yeah.
Whereas it's funny, you don't seem, for someone who makes funny videos on the internet, you do not seem to seek people's validation.
Yeah, I guess I do in my own little quiet ways. Like I definitely, it's ebbed and flowed. Like there was definitely a point where I needed to be perceived as very virtuous. For example, there was a point when I became very social justice inclined, and therefore I needed to signal, as it were, that I was one of the good ones, and that inflated my ego big time for a couple of years, and then I mellowed out, and now it's, I guess the only validation I need is to know that I'm entertaining people and doing so while doing no harm, because that's something I do consider a lot is kind of the net value of what I put out in terms of I won't feel like it's worth it if it's a million people laugh, but if it's actually crushed one person, then I'm like, oh, that's a failure then.
Yeah, because with comedy it's so easy to cross that line. And is that what you see as harmful content?
Yeah, I think I have a lot to kind of say and think about offensive versus harmful content. Like I think it's fine to offend, because that's quite a subjective term, obviously. But offend, I think, is by its own nature not harmful. Because what makes comedy harmful is if it's, I guess, something people can take away and learn from. Like if it's reinforcing negative stereotypes, if it's leading people to hold negative views or to parrot those things, I guess I'm asking myself, like, what would kids take away from this if they did see it? How would they end up repeating this in a playground,
Yeah, because you're right. You don't seem to mock stereotypes very much in your comedy.
I try not to. There was a phase kind of around about 2010, 2011 where I was like, oh, do I want to get into being really edgy?
Well, it's interesting because I think brands would see it entirely differently. Brands see any YouTube creators that do comedy often who aren't traditional TV comedians that they feel endorse the safe and are like, oh, that feels too far. Whereas what you're talking about is a level of responsibility that I think a lot of TV comedians don't have because they don't ever have to deal with those comments.
It's that detachment, yeah. I think that's, the thing about being an internet celebrity, for lack of a better phrase, is that you get a lot of there's a lot of perks, but one thing you don't have that real celebrities do is that detachment, that severance from those who consume your work. You very much, you get those comments. I don't think many people have a parasocial relationship with Stuart Lee. They know that that's a man on stage doing funny jokes, whereas with my audience, there is much more of a connection, and it does go both ways to an extent. Like I have a sense of responsibility to them, and I know how affected they can be by my words and actions, and I want to do the right thing. Yeah. So yeah, it's fiddly.
So after 16 years, you still get to work with your friends. You've got a team.
Mm-hmm.
Is it what you wanted it to be? You happy with it?
It very much was what it wanted to be at its peak. It was around about 2011 to 2013. That's when everything was kind of fallen into place, and that's when things were the most kind of successful. It's this really exciting hub of all my friends. We just all moved to London and we were all making stuff together. And that was honestly, that was a period in which I hit my first 1 million subscribers, and I was in the top 100 most subscribed YouTubers at that point. It was it was a very cool point. I was one of the first 100 YouTubers to hit 1 million subscribers, maybe 83rd or something. And it's not like me casually being like, maybe 83rd, I don't know. Like, I genuinely don't know. I wish I'd taken a screenshot. I'm so annoyed that I didn't. Because I'd have that like, put on a wall. Yeah, exactly. Like, number 83. Like, I don't actually know the number. And because of whatever that thing was years ago where they purged all the data, I now can never know. Anyway. So there was this period where it was really nice making things with my friends, but obviously as time's gone on, people's rates have increased, YouTube has stabilized, so there's not as much money coming in. So it's like everyone costs more, it makes less, and just everyone's like stressed now. They're all in their 30s and bills to pay, and so they're not gonna be on set like, oh, this is running over by 4 hours. Oh well, we're all having fun with our friends. They're like, yeah, you're employing me, and this is run over. I'm either walking off or I'm getting overtime. And I'm like, that's fair. We are all adults now, but it's a point. It's a position of privilege essentially to be in, to be like, and obviously as the person who's reaping the most financial benefits from the stuff I make, of course I'm going to be like, yeah, come on guys, let's all work overtime for me to make more money.
For me for free, we'll get pizza.
Yeah, exactly. And that was definitely when I was at my happiest, of course. So now everyone wants completely reasonable things that they are entitled to, and I will give that to them, and that's fair. But it is less fun.
And how do you find growing up? So essentially growing up on the platform, getting into your 30s, some people who were on the platform, it's like you're trying to relate to an audience, play like the YouTube big sister, or you're like trying to relate to an audience that's younger. And do you carry on making the same content to appeal to that age range, or do you age up with your audience?
I think I never wanted to age up with my audience, but I think naturally I just became further and further detached from that younger version of myself. Because when every video I made, I would ask myself, would me age 12 to 15 like this? That was who I was aiming. That was my core demographic. It was just this one kid. But as I got older, I could no longer materialize that kid in my head to ask him, if he'd like this. So I did naturally have to start erring older, just because that was the furthest back I could remember. So yeah, when I make sketches now, I'm kind of doing so a bit blind. Like I can refer back to my old work as kind of like a reference of like, this is the right tone. Because I would very happily keep making stuff for, people ages 12 to 15 and up. You know, obviously I want stuff that older people can enjoy as well, but predominantly, people kind of like first coming onto the internet and, well, obviously 12 to 15 was when you first come on the internet.
And now it's like,
back now it's like,
age 2, you're given an iPad.
Here's your iPad, little Timmy.
But so how old are your audience now? Like the majority?
I don't know. I mean, because there's what the numbers will say, and then there's what I'll meet at conventions. But that's also dependent on the convention. If I went to somewhere in the city, it would be, my audience is all 14-year-old girls. But I go to Comic-Con and like, it's all 18 to 25-year-old, evenly mixed sexes. But you look at the numbers and it's like, it's like 80% 25-year-old dudes.
It's just that they don't go to the convention anymore because they've aged up and they'll watch your content, but would they go and queue up for a meet and greet and buy merch?
But also that demographic is, like older men, I guess, are older men. Not teenage men are a very quiet audience for me to have. I mean, they'll be very vocal about Brie Larson's Captain Marvel, of course. But for me, they will just watch the videos and not comment and go, and then wait for the next one. So the only fans I actually hear from and interact with are the ones that come to conventions and leave comments, and that is usually the younger ones, the more excited ones. Because
they will call you out. Whereas when you get older, you stop calling things out quite so much. You get distracted by bills to pay.
For sure, 100%. I remember being, I think 21 when I just moved to London, and I was at the pub with my friend Jonty Weeble, and I was like really heated about something. I can't remember what it was, any old thing. It was 2011, Tories maybe, I don't know. And so that could be true of really any period.
Yeah, I mean, 2022.
But I was just like, how are you not like so angry about this? How do you not care? And he was like, you run out. You run out of caring.
He's like, I have nothing left to give.
And I was like, no man, I'm gonna be angry forever. And here I am, 32. I'm like,
I'm tired.
No, I'm so tired.
I wonder if it comes back when you have more time. So I wonder if when you retire, you get more angry about things because you've got the time to.
I think you just know to change more and you get angry about it.
I'm going to love seeing retired TomSka making videos.
I am not going to make it to retirement. Let's be honest. He's going to give out before then. So yeah. So
do you still enjoy it, even though it's a very different type of? You said you've got that highlight year 2011 to 2013. You've got friends now who are still making content, but it's not the same way. But do you still enjoy it?
I don't have many friends that are still making stuff in the way that we used to. All of the friends that I first moved to London with, that we made sketches with, none of them are doing that now. A lot of my friends, Jack, Sammy, all that, they're making music videos or adverts or other corporate work, pretty much. And the only reason I can still even make sketches is because I have the Astor movie series that still brings in enough passive income that I can afford to run a lot of other stuff on a loss. And my secondary channel is held completely afloat by Digital Voices, to be honest.
You're welcome.
If it weren't for the sponsors, it would just be like, I can't afford to spend 200 collective man hours and a couple grand making a video that gets 300,000 views. That's just throwing money away. But because we do have that sponsor coming in, we're making stuff that is very creatively satisfying. A lot of the time, like the Try Hard series, which we will release an episode of today, is very rewarding, but it is like the biggest time and money sink. But we can afford to do that because of sponsorships and Patreon, which is lovely. I think if I couldn't make those things, I'd just stop, really, because like on my main channel, making sketches it is to diminishing returns. It is ultimately it's expensive to animate. It's expensive to my live action sketches round up roughly to about £1,000 per minute. Once you've got locations and costumes and props and actors and all the members of crew and the post-production team and everything, and now everyone's kind of like they're not charging industry TV rates, but they still have
rent to pay and a cost of
yeah,
living
yes,
crisis.
and it's gone up. I mean, I just did a convention last weekend, and I gave my crew a pay rise for the first time at a con in a long time, because it's like now it's everything's like a third more expensive.
So if you weren't having sponsorships come in and Patreon, you'd stop.
I think I'd have to, honestly. Like, I think otherwise it gets to the point where everything starts going backwards, and it's like, oh, now I'm just burning through money. Oh God. And I need to, and I don't know what else I'm supposed to do with the money I have, because I don't want to become a landlord. I really don't.
You're going to start gaining a property empire and renting it out.
No.
So it's interesting, we talk about sponsorships and you're like, Digital Voices keeps you afloat. Because I always imagine when thank you, I really appreciated it. Thank you. It was very smooth. But when you talk about sponsorships, and most creators come in here, I assume they've got a lot of brand deals they're juggling with a lot of different agencies. And it sounds like Surfshark is the main one you're working on.
Yeah.
Because it's so consistent.
On my secondary channel. I mean, I do have the odd brand deal come in for my main channel, but the language of brand integrations and sponsorships has changed so much that it really does not work for my main channel anymore, because what they will want is a 1 minute integration. It's like, I make 3-minute sketches.
I can't put a minute in there. I'll lose everything.
And they're like, oh, we want a 1 minute integration within the first 2 minutes of sketch. So it's like, okay, so you want me to, midway through the sketch, talk about your product for a minute? That's just not going to work. That's going to kill the video. It's going to make everyone look bad. That is the thing. Like, I have confidence that I can make something that the audience will enjoy, but it will just make everyone look bad if they're that aggressive. What I used to be able to do when I first started doing brand deals is integrated sketches. A lot of my first brand deals were that, where it was, okay, Oreo wants us to do a sketch about Oreos, so I'm going to do this whole sketch where people keep getting turned into Oreos, and that will be the sketch, and so it's consistent throughout. The whole sketch is an Oreo video, and the unique selling point would always be like, wow, I can't believe they approved this. That would be what I'd aim for. But now it's like, no, we don't want anything that's impossible to manage. We have a brief. It says we want, we have this budget. It says we want 100 channels to say this script at this time code, and then we can just measure those metrics.
Yeah.
And because there's not that freedom, there's not that trust and back and forth now, because everything's quite standardized, it's very much choked out the freedom to do anything creative. And that was true for years, for about 5 years for me.
It really, I don't normally get this angry, it really pisses me off, because it's agencies deciding to be lazy. But the work you're doing to integrate a brand into a script and into a piece of content in a way that's entertaining is so much harder. And why it's not happening is because agencies are trying to do brand deals at scale with no human interaction, with no creative thought, and they're giving scripts because that's all they care
100%.
about. They're not even tweaking the scripts to people. And it's so frustrating because it's worse results for the brands, it's worse interaction with creators, and it makes you hate the content you produce. And if you hate it, your audience don't like it either.
Yeah, and this was a real nail in the coffin with a company I used to work with, because they'd come to me with a brand deal, and the brand deal was just, we want you to make this video, and it was a thing for this show, and we were like, we want you to make this prank video. And I was like, I don't want to make a prank video, but for that money you're offering, I could make this sketch that I think my audience would really love, and it would be really native to the brand. And in fact, here's the script and everything. And then the middleman people kind of just went, they said no. I was like, oh, well, can I call them and like kind of extend it? And it was like, no, I can't do that. And so I didn't take that brand deal. And then about a month later, one of my close friends drops a video for that brand that's custom sketch. And I'm like, what?
Why did they agree to that?
You didn't have to do the prank video? I want to do a custom sketch. And it was like, yeah, my management just let me call them up and just talk to them. I was like, that was an option. because mine said it wasn't, and that was really bad. Because it was just like you were saying, I just want to do it.
So did you change management?
I did. I didn't want to say it was management.
Sorry.
No, I said it. I was like, I said it out loud. No.
Can't go back.
Yeah, but that was the thing is that as the industry was shying away from these custom jobs, I felt very choked out, and that's why when I started working with Digital Voices and namely Surfshock on my secondary channel, I started to get a bit more freedom, even though technically it's not, because it's still the same format that they want, where it's like, here's this 1 minute integration in the first 5 minutes of a video, but because I'm making longer form content on my secondary channel that you can fit those into, I actually can work it in. And as I got kind of braver with the brand, it was like, okay, now I'm going to make full sketches. And the thing is, the sketches I'm making for Surfshark through Digital Voices are mini versions of what I wanted to be doing on my main channel, and I love it. It's I have more fun writing those ads sometimes than I do my main channel sketches, because we just have this kind of freedom to be wacky, and sometimes the ideas get shut down, and that's usually fair, but like we actually have fun putting it together, because that's what I want to be doing on my main channel.
You definitely tested. I mean, a year of trying to get fired.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive concept. I don't think I've ever seen a creator do that. I've never seen a creator try and get fired before. It's obviously put our team in a fun situation where we're like, trust him.
Please.
He's a bit crazy. Trust him.
I mean, it wasn't so much I was trying to get fired, but it was very much I was trying to get stopped. Yeah, it was. I wanted to know when they'd say no, and that was an exciting journey finding it. I have since found out where they'll say no, but we'll talk about that. I'll talk about that in a video.
And the ASA will say no before Surfshark will.
ASA.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Gotta love them.
It's really funny. Your way of doing creative brand integrations is, I think, where I would love more YouTube creators to go, because when we work with someone, we do send them talking points and script. They are like, okay, I'm just gonna do what will get approved, so they add no creativity.
This is the thing though, because while I am making these extremely irreverent ads, it's also coming up a big bed of crippling doubt and a sense of responsibility towards my audience. So I am also trying to do right by them and advertise as best, as honestly and responsibly as I can. I
can imagine if you were being told what to say and you didn't believe in what you were saying, you'd probably hit your limit or walk away. Yeah. I mean, there's been a couple of times where I have compromised my integrity for money. There just has, especially when there's been a couple very late in the brand deal, like, oh, we want you to add this line in. It's like, it's coming out tomorrow, and they're like, add it in, all the deal's off. It's like, fuck. Do you want to talk about them?
So I very much do try to avoid lying, obviously, in ads. If it's, because I will promote a product, but if it's like I don't personally use it, or if I don't like the product, I will not advertise it. But if I don't actually have a very strong opinion on it. It's just like, this is a fine thing. I'm fine to tell my audience about this. That's kind of the air I'm taking. So a lot of the things I talk about, I'm just saying, this is what this product does. This is how it works. And I'm not saying, and I personally love to do this with it. But some brands, they want you to say that. It's like, I don't feel that way. I don't play that. And there has been a couple of points I've been like, and my favorite thing is this. And it's just been an absolute lie. And that's felt bad. There's only been about 2-3 instances of that in my life, and it was awful. It just feels terrible because it's not true.
Is there an ad you wish you'd not done?
Is there a brand deal I wish I hadn't done? I don't know, because everything is the ones I wish I hadn't done, the ones I didn't do most of the time. There were some pretty bonkers ones that never went ahead because it was just like, this brand this is impossible. They're asking for the ridiculous.
Go after crypto stuff.
No, actually, I don't think. I think I've had like one offer for crypto stuff, and I was like, no, thank you. And that was it. So, yeah, not an exciting story there. There was one there was one campaign for a soft drink, and they were like, okay, we want you to make, we want you to create a new channel for us, and that will have, and you'll release 10 videos on that channel that each need to get, I can't remember if it was 100,000 or 1 million views, but this we're going to make a brand new channel and release 10 videos that will each get 100,000 to 1 million views. We're in tandem of each of those uploads. We want you to release a sketch on your main channel that will promote the video. So that's okay, we're up to 20 videos. And then at the end of the campaign, we want you to do one more video on your main channel that just promotes the whole thing. I was like, wow, okay, 21 videos. What are we talking here? Like, how many figures are we up to? And they're like, and for this, we're going to offer you £10,000.
Oh my God.
It's like, right, so my fee is £10,000. No, that's also the budget. Like, you want me to put together 21 videos,
including sketches,
for £10,000. I could make 3 sketches for £10,000 at cost. What? And all my friends are like, oh, because there's a brand also like, and you know, all your friends will also be in these videos, and a lot of my friends are like, oh no, do this because we want the exposure. I was like, dickheads.
This must have been 2011 or something like that. It can't have been.
It was 20.
If you ask them that now,
2013, I think.
Okay.
And I was just like, yeah, I'm not. No. Not only is that insulting, but that's also impossible.
You're like, hang on, making 10 videos on a new channel get 100,000 to 1 million views. You're like, do you know how hard it is to do that on my own channel?
Yeah.
And how much time it takes, let alone.
I would rather a brand just come to me and say, okay, here's our budget and here's what we want. And then I'll tell them what video I think needs to be made to get that. Because, I think a lot, if you have a low budget and if you want to spend a small amount of money and get high results, that is feasible, but there's only certain types of videos that can achieve that. And this isn't what they wanted. So yeah, that was very cringe.
So what's the brand deal you're most proud of? Like the video you're most proud of? Like, is there an individual one?
What is the video I'm most proud of?
Threatening to kill someone?
Yeah, that was pretty great.
that wasn't what happened actually.
No, but I do genuinely, I was really proud of that video and the ad. Like, in terms of a combo of video and ad, I was like, yeah, this slaps. So even though we had to delete the advert, we still got to, it still reached a pretty big audience. So people got a kick out of it. It definitely had its day in the sun. Ad integration I'm most proud of. I think it would probably, a lot of this kind of the custom sketches I made back around 2012 to 2015 were those, like one sketch I did for Oreo. Those were kind of fun because that was really just quite unique. Just these bespoke comedy sketches with brand integrations. They were really fun, and I would very happily just kept doing those to this day. If it had been an option. The last opportunity I ever had to do that was for a brand, I think it was 2018 or 17. And we did this whole bespoke sketch, and there were red flags everywhere because the brand kept giving us no notes, and that's not a thing. It's like, in our experience, if the brand doesn't give you notes, the brand will give you notes. It's just when. And if they're not giving you notes, they're like, do whatever you want. It's like, oh, here we go. Then you write the script and you're like, okay, notes now. And they're like, no, it's great, keep going. It's like, oh, I'm in
You're
trouble.
like all the cast.
They're not reading this. And it means the notes are now going to come at the point you hand over an edit.
Yeah.
And you've filmed things and you can't change it, except incredibly expensively with CGI. So I was like, this is dodgy, there's something wrong here. And we filmed this sketch for this brand, but I'm like, there's something off. So what we did is we filmed a few additional shots to replace the branded elements, just in case it all completely fell apart, so we'd at least have a usable sketch.
Yeah.
And sure enough, like 2 days before the video goes live, it turns out that like the marketing department of this brand had gone rogue. They'd never run anything by the legal department. The whole marketing department, I think, got laid off. Like, it was this huge scandal. We'd done nothing wrong. Like, this was not us. This was just, they'd done a rogue marketing campaign with no legal approval. They weren't running the script up to anyone. That's why there was no notes, because like I was like, there will be notes. Because when you write a script, you do intentionally push the envelope so that you can get away with what you really want to get away with. You put in jokes that you're fine with being cut, so they'll let you get away with the ones you really care about. And yeah, because that didn't happen, it was like, this is dodgy, there's something off here. And that was one of the highest paying brand deals I ever did. And I still released a video, and just there's no brand element on it.
And so did they pay you for
We still got paid, yeah. And that's probably why everyone got fired, is because it's like, you contractually obligated us to pay like these 10 creators that have been on this campaign for all these videos that now can't come out. And luckily, mine was the only one that got to come out because I filmed contingencies that I could delete it without losing the whole video. So that was a really fun one. But that was the last time I worked with an integrated sketch properly, like in terms of the brand was just the sketch. And everything since then has just been, here's an ad, here's a 30-second ad read at the end of the sketch, or here's a minute in the middle of this video.
Yeah. But you still make them creative in your own way.
Yes, I still. Well, I just still try to. The logic I've always gone on is banned ad, where it's like, this is an ad the brand wouldn't approve, or this is so outrageous that like what gets the audience excited is like they know what ads are supposed to look like, and they know that a brand shouldn't let this ad be approved. That's my absolute favorite thing.
5.5 years running Digital Voices as an agency, 2 years at YouTube before. We've never had thousands of brand deals, thousands of sponsorships, and we've never had an ASA complaint until you.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even for, well done, but it wasn't even for not declaring the ads.
No.
It was because the content of the ad that was approved by the brand, that your audience seemed to love,
They did.
that you seemed really proud of,
Yeah.
was too violent.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's worth noting that, like you said, like you've never had a complaint about the ad not being declared. Whereas that was me. That was my first run in the ASA back in 2014, where I'd done a video. I'd done a campaign for Oreo. I'd done a couple, and part of the campaign was to make it authentic and natural as like a collab, like a challenge video, obviously that was just an undisclosed ad, and it felt iffy at the time, but it was what we were being paid to do, and I love money, so I did it.
And you need money as well, like that.
Sure.
Your videos are expensive, you need the money.
And so, we did it, being like, well, like, I guess if everyone in charge is telling us to do it, it's a bit dubious, but okay. And then it was like, no, it's also illegal. And so, this whole campaign got pulled with an ASA complaint, and I was pretty much for it. I was like, yeah, that seems fair. It did feel off, but I was very angry that the people who had hired us had all put us in the situation. So I was very annoyed about that, and that's why I was like, I will stop being angry if you give me a second job, which is why I did the second video for Oreo, because I was like mad. I was like really like, I don't like this falling onto the creators. We're the ones taking the public blame for this, when we were just, not to sound like a Nazi, we were just following orders. So yeah, that was
a big great sentence.
Yeah. But then basically the rules got standardized after that. So it's like you have to put ad in the title / thumbnail, and it has to be on the screen for the first like 5 seconds of the video, and that was a direct result of that, which was very funny.
Do you feel like influencer content is held, this is a leading question, so sorry, is held to a higher standard than like integrations in films or integrations in TV? You have to put like a little P in.
I don't know, to be honest. I think that it's probably, to a degree, unpopular opinion, probably necessary and appropriate that influencers have to make more of an effort to disclose a brand integration than a movie does, because people watch a movie knowing it's fiction, whereas people watch a YouTuber on a basis of trust and authenticity, and they trust the people talking to them. So, if I'm saying, hey, this is an amazing thing, you need to know that I'm being paid to say that. I can't be, otherwise, you'll be taking it from a person that the audience trusts, that they're being sincere. And when they're not, they're being paid to do it. And even if they may love the product, they should still have the right to know that. So I think that it is more necessary in the online space to be careful when you're dealing directly. Because essentially a lot of brand deals are, for lack of a better word, you could say abusing, I guess I'd say utilizing the parasocial relationship that the creator has with their audience and playing on that trust to promote a product. And I think the audience should have the absolute best chance they can to know that this part of the video is
Sponsored.
fiction. Sponsored, yeah. That it is.
It's interesting. I think it's a mixture of playing on that parasocial relationship and the endorsement. I agree there's an element of that, definitely. Also, it's where eyeballs are.
Yeah.
And like previously, your eyeballs would be on 5 channels on TV. And now your eyeballs could be watching anything. So yeah, I agree with the declaration. I don't think that should, declaration should change.
I think, so like on TV, when you have Philip Schofield showing up and he's talking about how amazing this product is, you're kind of just like, he's reading a script. I guess the audience knows that man is reading off a teleprompter right now. He's reading a script, and that it's a performance. And so it doesn't that endorsement. I just feel like even on a subconscious level, an audience is going to be aware that this isn't necessarily real. But on YouTube, that's not as likely.
But even in films where like the baddie won't be using an iPhone.
Yeah.
That's subconscious. That's that should be strongly declared, or you should. Yeah. I think it should probably apply the stronger declarations too.
No, I mean, I'd be fine with them upping that for films. Just being like, imagine every like Marvel film started with like this film is sponsored by Audi, because they are. There's Audis all over those films. I think that'd be really funny. I would like to see that just for the meme of it. Snakes in a plane. Like, hey guys, you can see a lot of Red Bull in this movie. And a lot of snakes as well. Is it sponsored by snakes? We'll find out. It was.
Do you okay, so you're happy with ad declaration. That part of ASA, you understand that guideline. You're happy to be the Kim Kardashian poster person for getting called out by the ASA in 2014.
Right. Yep.
How do you feel about the ASA ruling about your content being too violent?
Totally fair. Completely fine with it. It was, the February 2022 ruling by the ASA was totally fine. It was like, because we'd been trying to push the boundaries. We've been trying to make an unapprovable ad. And I was like, this is too far. I know I've made an ad that's too far. And then they came on and were like, this is too far. And I was like, thank you. You're
right. I was trying.
God bless them. And I was just like, so there was no pushback. I was like, cool. You want me to, because YouTube has the internal editor now, that means you have to take a video down. I was like, I can just cut that out. I can cut out the bit. If there's one shot you think is too much, I can just cut that out. But both me, Surfshark, we're both like, we can cut this out. It's been received by the audience anyway. Like, and it was all based on, I think, like, I don't know how much I can say, but it was apparently all based on like one complaint from like a parent being like, oh, our child saw this and was really freaked out. And given the subject matter of this video being about, it was this video about TomSka, and it's like, I can see that happening. I mean, a lot of the people who watched that video were young or on the autism spectrum, so they are going to
potentially
likely blur the lines, have a harder time distinguishing fiction from fact. So I can see how that, and the ad itself, did play on the notion of like, we are directly threatening you, the person watching this, that we're going to torture you if you don't get stuff shock. So it was like 100% fair. So
I just, what you set out to do.
No notes to anyone involved. That was fair.
And what is your hope for the future of branded content?
God. I guess for me, I hope like I still get to make funny things, and that I don't have to sit there and I can work with brands that don't just hand me a script and ask me to read their talking points. Like, I'm fine to hit your beats as long as I'm allowed to write that, the script around it, as opposed to just follow their script verbatim, because audiences, for one thing, they know when that's happening and they'll just skip the ad. That's all they'll do. They'll just go forward.
A lot of the comments on yours are like, I didn't skip the ad. Like, I love your ads.
I'm trying to make ads that are unskippable because they're just genuinely enjoyable to watch, and because they make the brand look good in as much as the audience, like, this brand is cool. This brand takes chances. This isn't your dad's VPN. That's kind of what I'm going for. Whereas
Surfshark is for everyone.
But that's always been my goal with brand deals, is to kind of get across this notion that this brand took a chance and you guys should reward them for that. Essentially, they let me do something really wacky, and because of them, I got to show you something cool. Like when on my main channel, I'm usually splashing out with a bigger budget video, because I'd have these budgets, so I'd make a big budget sketch, and it'd be like, yeah, that brand made this happen, so that was nice of them. Yeah. So I'd love to be able to keep doing what I'm doing, but ultimately, I just hope that the younger creators coming in do consider the responsibility they have, do consider the power they have over a very impressionable audience, and wield that power responsibly. I think that people are growing up now so used to brand deals that they don't necessarily consider the damage and impacts they can have if they accept everything. Because there are plenty of just valid products that we're offered to promote that have chosen an online campaign, but there are also plenty of really dodgy things.
Yeah, we as an agency turn away from them, but it's so funny. I've been laughed at by other founders of agencies in the UK who have been like, if you're not taking gambling brand deals, if you're not taking tobacco affiliated products, if you're not taking diet pills, how are you making your money?
And I've been approached by all of those, and alcohol included. Gambling was a big one I had this year, and they were offering a huge sum of money, and I was like, ooh, yummy. And then they were like, you can't say the word gambling. So, ooh.
Like that?
That's what you are, though. Yeah. They're like, no, say that it's like luck-based games, for which you can win cash prizes with a small investment. It's like, that's gambling, and they were very much, going, lie to kids, make the kids do the gambling. And I was like,
can't age gate influence content, so you can't like make sure kids don't watch it.
Yeah, because YouTubers it's either 18 plus and with an account, or everyone. And it's like, that's not great.
Yeah.
So I just hope that newer influencers and younger influencers, and just all influencers, agencies, they just use the power responsibly.
Think about it.
And please, God, that's all.
Yeah. Good note to end on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Please be nice, be good, don't be evil.